live on Facebook here, Tim, with
Okay.
our 1 year anniversary podcast. Did you think we'd make it a year, Tim?
You try to keep your expectations reasonable with this program, with everything, right? So I was hopeful, but I'm super excited about doing this an entire year. Every time, you make these accomplishments, finish something, right? Finish this for a year. It's just a good feeling. Feels like when I got my bachelor's degree or something, just this sense of accomplishment.
Just trying to get this video here to share to some groups and whatnot. Just kind of waiting for it to get running here a little bit. It's our first time doing a Facebook Live. So if you're watching this on Facebook, bear with us. We're going to get this figured out.
Yeah, so we have some really exciting, and while you're getting that shared around, and we're going to try to bring on a few guests today. I'm excited to catch back up with David Sutherland. He has the number one card, patient number one, really, from a registration standpoint in the state of Utah. He was on one of our first podcast episodes, and so we'll get a chance to catch up with him. JD Lauritsen, the Leafy lawyer, going to have a chance to catch up with him, maybe get some updates about where the program came and where it is now, some things that changed in 2021. And he was featured in Cole Fulmer's Salt Baked City, who we're going to have on as a guest as well. He'll be coming on a little bit later. And Cole is, he's got the Green Scene News, right, of the culture, kind of the other side. We do the audio version, and he does the print version of what's going on in the cannabis culture in Utah. So it'll be exciting to catch up with him too.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for today to just kind of see where everybody's at, man. Where are you at now, especially after 2020? What a heck of a year, right?
Oh, and then, towards the end too, we'll talk a little bit with Jeremy Sumerix. He's the president of Deseret Wellness. I wanted to get him on to kind of talk about an announcement for Summit County residents. So, be sure to stay tuned right to the end
of the podcast. We'll have some good news for you.
That's right. So let's start let's catch up with David Sutherland. David, I see you there. How's
Hello.
things going for you?
Things are going well.
Are they?
Considering the year we just went through.
Right. Oh, this is besides the global pandemic we all are still living in. Right? How did that affect your life last year in the summer?
Many ways. We've been teaching we're in second grade now. Teaching school for the last year from home. And then both my wife and I working from home. I work from home in the mornings, and then I'm on campus in the afternoons. Just being cooped up inside. We did make it away for one trip out of state, went up to Montana for a week. So that was nice to get out of here.
Did you see that okay, then I'm just going to ask you a cannabis question then, and like from a provider patient standpoint, did working from home and the stress, did that change your use?
Being at home, I think my use went up.
Really?
A lot.
Did
it was 2020.
And also having the program available, and years prior, like looking at my stash, going, hey, when's the next time I'm in Washington, Oregon, or Colorado? How much do I have left? How much can I use? Where now I don't even worry about that anymore. So that's really nice.
Oh yeah, we've heard from quite a few patients in the clinics that's been a pretty good deal. Did you find that, over the course of, originally we had talked and product was really, it was tough to get some consistency, but now do you feel like that's evening out?
It is. I mean, flour is still a little bit of a hassle, but tinctures and edibles and vape carts are, they're pretty well stocked.
Yeah.
What have been some of your favorite strains over this last year? Any favorites?
I like the stuff that came out from Sugar House Selects, but it only came out once, so hopefully we're getting a little bit more here soon. Their Fatso is really good, and I like their ice cream cake.
Good stuff.
Yeah, any of the flour's been really good. I really like. Been doing a lot of trike flour because that seems to be the most prevalent
Yeah.
over the last year. But a lot of tinctures. That's my daily tinctures every day,
Do you think?
morning, noon, and night.
Yeah. And is that just because they're easy to dose? They're
Yeah, they're easy to dose, and I just like you hold it under your tongue for a minute, and then for me in 20 minutes I'm starting to feel some effect, and then you swallow the rest, and then that kind of builds for later and lasts a little bit longer. But yeah, that's why I love the tinctures. Like 20 minutes, and I'm starting to feel it.
Do you think that did you use more tinctures because of the optics, having all the kids around, being at home?
Yeah, but it's not just that. I don't know. There's something I like the flavor of it. I don't like the flavored tinctures usually.
Uh-huh.
I just like the herb flavor. I don't even really do that many edibles like the gummies. It's just straight tinctures for me. Yeah, I'll have them, but it's tinctures are just so much quicker and easier, and I'm so used to them, and I know, when I'm going to get my effects and what I'm going to get out of it, and
Well, that's pretty cool.
Remind me what a daily regimen looks like for you, David.
All right, so I wake up. I usually start off. I'll do a little session with my packs to get the morning rolling, and then it's tinctures, and I do a lot of 1-to-1. That's my daytime ritual is 1-to-1, or sometimes even 2-to-1, with 2 being THC to CBD. But 1-to-1's my normal. Like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then it's usually about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then I do my ABV at night around 7 o'clock.
Now, what do you do with the ABV? What are you doing with that?
That's all my leftover vape stuff with all the goodies still in it. I mix it with peanut butter, smear it on a saltine cracker, and eat 900 milligrams of it every night.
Oh yeah, this has already been vaped.
Swallow it
Yep.
all.
Yep.
And it's all decarboxylated. It's a way to really save some money and use, because
Yes,
it converts
absolutely.
over to a lot of CBN.
It gives me a lot of
Does it?
gas
When
when
you
I
do
do
that?
that.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I know that's a little weird to bring
I've
up,
never-
but no problem with that, David? Nothing? No digestive issues?
I get more of the digestive issues from the tinctures, the MCT oil.
Okay. Okay.
That'll give you a touch of the Montezuma's revenge there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the ABV doesn't seem to be bothering me. But I've been eating that for 3 years now, so
Okay.
probably
I've
4.
never tried it. I always feel like when I was at officer candidate school in the Marine Corps, we used to get the instant coffee grounds, and they would tell us to throw them away because they didn't want us to have the caffeine, and then we would sneak them into our pants pockets, and then we would just eat the instant coffee grounds.
Oh, like
Yeah,
dipping it,
like
yep.
like on a march, we just eat the coffee grounds because we needed the caffeine, and that's what I imagine the ABV is like. That just, ugh. So I don't know. I've never been
Yeah,
able to really try it.
It doesn't taste that bad. I mean, you mix it with some peanut butter. I have another friend patient who he does it in yogurt. Just mixes in with his yogurt.
Do you have you found that over the course of the year you have become? I mean, you've definitely become more popular. Hopefully, just as you were out there, right? You were
Yeah.
one of the first. You were willing to say, "Hey, I'm a patient." Have you found that you're helping quite a few people, like understand that cannabis isn't that it's not that scary?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, right down to my 89-year-old parents. I talk to them freely about it. People at work. People come to me because they know about my experience. So they'll come and ask questions, or what do I think, or how should I go about this? I have friends back east have been asking me questions. My brother.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting more and more accepted everywhere. I've noticed, even this whole last year, I've noticed a quick acceptance almost, with it being an essential, mandatory to stay open during the pandemic and this and that. And it's like people are respecting it now. People are actually seeing it for what it is instead of this evil thing. I've really noticed a jump in popularity this last year.
Do you feel like that's the case, David, from all the people that you really associate with? That's been my experience, is now that it's legal, it seems like people come out of the woodwork,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
to, once they know that you're a patient, or once they know you are involved in the program at all, like you're now their go-to.
I get asked about it at work all the time,
Yeah.
weekly. So someone's pulling me aside. Hey, what do you think about this? Or, hey, I'm having this issue. Like, what do you think about CBD or, THC or the both together? And I tell them the same thing. Like, I'm a big believer in the one-to-one. Like, it's done great things for me this past year.
Do you think you've had any trouble with the law or the EVS system, the like nuts and bolts of the system?
No, not since that first go around. No, I haven't had any issues with the system. The dispensaries or the pharmacies. I'm sorry. No problems there. I love being able to order. I'll be ordering online from Wholesome here shortly and picking it up after work on the way home.
Oh yeah, yeah. And Wholesome
Yeah,
has home delivery. Have you tried that?
No, I haven't tried the delivery yet. I don't mind a little jaunt up there. I actually, between that and Curaleaf are the places I've been going.
Interesting.
And the reason I go to, the Curaleaf gives me 20% off as a veteran.
Oh, nice.
I mean, that's
What?
that's
awesome.
huge. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm getting Ace of Flower down there for like 34, where it's like $60 at Dragonfly.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, that adds
Sure,
up
yeah,
real quick.
Yeah, especially when I think I spent like $4,000 last year or something in the program. Yeah, it adds up.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the prices are still a little, I think everybody agrees they want the prices to come down. But
Yeah, flower prices are a little ridiculous.
yeah,
On the tincture side and the vape side, those seem to be right in line with other states.
well, that's cool.
But it's $60 an eighth. We got to do something about that.
Right. That seems it seems a little steep for flower, but again, I mean, we talk about this it seems like every podcast, Chris, right? We're going to get more, we're going to get more flour. We're going to get more flour. And
It seems like it's still a little dry out there, though. I've actually noticed that recently. It seems like a lot of these pharmacies are having trouble staying stock, so they're going to keep charging high prices as long as we're buying them out.
there are 8 growers, and I only think this could be a good question for JD and Cole, but I only think there are 3 or 4 growers that are actually producing flour into the marketplace. I don't think they're all producing flour.
And then we have the testing issue. That's what happened with that Sugar House Selects. It sat in testing. Like a jar of it I got was 6 months old almost. 6 months.
Wow.
Is that why some of the stuff you get is so dried out? It's like, good grief. Like this stuff is like been just sitting on a shelf for like ever. I feel like it just crumbles in
Yeah,
your
you got to
hand.
grind it up. It's like, wow, look at all that keef. And it's like, well, that's not keef. That's
Right,
my flour. It's just pulverized. It's so dry.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So, Chris, I want to bring in JD Lauritsen, the leafy lawyer, because, and I wonder if David even has some questions for JD, but I want to talk a little bit about the, some of the changes, or like what patients have seen change over the course of the year from a legal standpoint. Because I was gonna keep asking David those kinds of questions, but I think maybe we could all talk about it.
And also, my computer's kind of froze on my end on the Facebook side, so I can't see any comments or messages. I don't know if any of you guys can see that, if anybody's like leaving any comments
Oh, that's a good
or any
plan.
questions or anything like that on Facebook. For some reason, Facebook is not wanting to really work properly. So it's still streaming there, so I'm going to let
Yeah.
it be. But I'm wondering if any of you guys can see
Well,
on
sure,
your
and we'll
side
have
there.
Zach, the guy on the back end. If he sees anything, I'll have him text me too.
Yeah.
JD Lauritsen, welcome back to Utah in the Weeds, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys too. Thanks for having me on. Excited to help you guys celebrate your 1 year anniversary. You guys, I think I was episode 16, and aren't you guys up somewhere close to the 50s now or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like 48, I think, is what this episode
yeah,
number
we are
is.
we are so close. I remember that episode. We were sitting there in the lobby of my office, and I refer to that episode all the time because one of the biggest questions we have, well, the biggest set of questions that we have is always regarding the law. Can I carry a firearm? Do I have to answer this question on that ATF form? And I always just refer them right back to the podcast. I tell them exactly what you said. I'm not a lawyer, but I recorded with a guy.
Yep. Well, and Utah has now passed, that you no longer need a permit for concealed carry, so you shouldn't be getting that question anymore. So I guess now you can run around with your concealed carry and your cannabis all at the same time, even though that'll.
I didn't realize that. So that just barely passed
that
then?
passed this session. I'm not sure if it's been signed yet. I actually do believe it's been signed into law.
Yeah.
But what's weird is that all of this remains federally illegal. So cannabis and guns don't go together at all on the federal level. But here in Utah, it's okay. And to me, it's one of many examples of of what I just believe to be the ridiculousness of having it illegal on the federal level and legal at a state level. Just the problems that creates. And, politics aside, I think our Congress is probably as best situated as it's ever been to see some type of meaningful, federal reform, which I'm excited for. But they didn't include, the Safe Banking Act in this last COVID bill. And I'm not sure where the MORE Act will go. But if there was ever a time to see federal reform, I think now is now's the time. So I'm excited to see if that happens in the next, 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
It seems a lot of stuff is moving quickly.
Even
in the federal
Alabama
side, from what
just recently passed as the 37th state to have a medical program or some type of program. I mean, we've got to be at critical mass, right?
Yeah, but you're still seeing states like in South Dakota, they sued to challenge the adult use part of the ballot measure that they passed, and that's been successful, and it looks like they're not going to appeal that. They're going to potentially try to challenge it in Montana. So yes, there's progress being made, but reefer madness is still abound.
I've even heard in Idaho they're trying to work on maybe a constitutional amendment to outlaw cannabis for that would be really hard to overcome.
Yeah, it went through their Senate. I don't believe it's gone through their House yet, but yeah, it passed through their Senate to pass a constitutional amendment to ban cannabis forever. So if you're a patient, Idaho is probably not your go-to spot.
It's so ridiculous, man. That is just so.
It's the same rhetoric just over and over and over again. Just recycled. I mean, you could go and listen to Harry Anslinger talk about cannabis in the 1930s, and maybe short of some of the really openly racist rhetoric that he pushed. So much of the same rhetoric is out there, in terms of it being a gateway substance, and so much of the propaganda that has existed for years and years and years. And even though it's been dispelled through research and anecdotal evidence and all of that stuff, people still push the same stuff, the same stuff. And to me, it's it's just a plant. You know, we should treat it as such, and you know, regulate it somewhere between alcohol and a wellness product, and let people over a certain age decide what they want to put in their body. And compare it to other substances. In my opinion, it's a harm reduction tool. You know, when you compare it to other things, so. It's all much about nothing for me, but the feds still seem to just be a little bit behind on these things. But it's great to see these states, you know, both red and blue states, just continue to push, you know, cannabis legalization forward. So,
Well, even Utah, isn't there's some bills up there now? Are you familiar with the bills that are probably going to pass here soon?
yeah, so as near as I can tell, I think there's 3 medical cannabis bills, and then there's a hemp bill. The hemp bill was debated on the Senate floor last night, and I'm not sure what'll end up happening with that, if there's enough time to get that through. So the hemp producers will probably want to watch that closely. But on the medical cannabis front, there's 3 bills I'm aware of. One that would, and I can't remember the exact number, I think it's HB 210, that would create an additional qualifying condition for opioid use disorder.
Yes.
I believe that's just been sitting in committee since late January, and I would love to see if that can move forward. But you know, I check the legislative website each day, and it seems to just still be in committee. SB 170, which is the Consumer kind of Protection Act for patients, seems to be making I believe it's already over into the House now.
Yeah, it's passed out of committee, I believe, yesterday morning, without any difficulty. This added.
Yes, as near as I can tell, I think there's 3 medical cannabis bills.
Yeah, that was
It
weird.
was weird.
There's a ghost in the machine, guys.
That's right. So that one will force all of the clinics like Utah Therapeutic Health Center, which I own and operate. We will need to then put the cost of our first visit on the state's website, and everybody. It's more of a transparency issue. Whether I agree with that or not, they're trying to be more and more transparent with the pricing.
Certainly, and I think that what they're looking to is just to try to help the consumer, the patient, based upon probably some of the stories they've heard about, some of the operators out there. I also know that it's going to allow, I think it's that bill that's going to allow for, other medical providers to have up to 15 patients and some things like that. So to me, it's much more an access and transparency bill than anything, but it seems to be on the verge of being passed. And then the last of the 3 medical cannabis bills is being run by Senator Vickers, and it's much more industry focused. And I believe it still is in committee, and I believe they've adopted the second substitute, but I don't know if it's passed out of committee yet. But to be honest with you, I didn't look at that one.
That's the one that adds a rural or an additional pharmacy, but not one that would have a location, I believe.
Yeah, and that part, I know it adds a 15th, but I'm not exactly sure. I know it's to service the rural areas and stuff like that. And I know some certain things that were in the initial substitute are not in the second substitute, and that one's a much longer bill than any of them. That's for sure.
I remember when we talked to Desiree Hennessy, she was saying that there was a lot of Easter eggs in there, a lot of things. There was like 300 pages of legislation in there. So you got to dig through and find the stuff.
Read it line by line. Yep, exactly. So sometimes those things aren't easy to digest and understand, but that's where I think we stand, legislatively. Whether any of those or all of those will make it into law, we'll see. But as I think anybody understands, this is an incremental process. And I think they'll be introducing bills like this every single year. You'll see tweaks to the program, I believe, every year.
Have you just had your phone start ringing off the hook for clients?
I get calls from both industry folks as well as patients, and a lot of the patient calls aren't necessarily that they need representation. It's usually questions. And so, although none of that, ethically, I have to tell them that none of this is legal advice. I'm not your lawyer, none of that stuff. I end up answering a lot of patient questions, as to the legalities, and try to keep people from getting in trouble. But law enforcement is still out there, and you got to be careful. So a lot of what I say is, don't talk to the cops.
What advice? Okay, so JD, this is a good question that we can ask you, hopefully while people are listening to this live now, or whether they're listening to this later. What's the best way to make sure as a patient we stay legal? Like what kind of steps do we need to be taking to keep legal? Because if I feel like there's no set of nobody has the exact answers to give. Like we need to keep the little labels from the jars, and we need to, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a good question.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think that, as the law changes, my answer will change. So I always say, the lawyer's best answer is it depends. But on how I understand things right now, what I would advise people to do is, look, as much as I disagree with this personally, and I think we should be able to consume in public, unless you have a medical condition that you think is going to provoke some type of emergency situation, best to keep your cannabis at home and to consume it at home. And the only time it should probably be out in public is when you're transporting it from the pharmacy to home. And if you are going to travel somewhere with it, with you to consume, if you're to go on vacation or something like that. Now, obviously, if you cross state lines, that's federally illegal, but I'm talking within the state, keep it in the original package you got it in, especially when it comes to flour, because you've got to keep it in that jar if it's going to leave your home. You need an opaque bag if you're transporting the flour. So when you go to Dragonfly or somewhere like that, sometimes they give you those kind of they're thicker bags that you can't see through, and they seal at the top. A better way to do it is get yourself a smell-proof container that locks, and when you transport it, keep it in the trunk of your car so there's no question that that you can't have access to it. And stuff like that. And when it comes to your vape carts and things like that, I mean, even though I don't believe the law requires that you keep those in the packaging and stuff, I would, unless it's going to stay in your home, I would probably keep that package, keep that receipt. Even though the law doesn't require all of this, I've heard stories of people getting pulled over and they don't have their receipt, and so therefore it gets confiscated. Or people just leaving a pharmacy and the law enforcement confiscates it. So to me, with your medicine, the best way to me is to take it from the pharmacy, take it directly home, and don't let it leave your home again, and consume it there. Now, I know that's not always practical and the best way to do it, but to me, that seems to be the best way to stay out of trouble when it comes to your medicine. Now, when it comes to law enforcement encounters generally, there's some great lawyers out of California called the Pot Brothers at Law, and they've got a script that they tell people to follow. And this script will work anywhere as near as I can tell. So when they pull you over and they start to ask you questions, the first thing you ask them is, why did you pull me over? When they continue asking you questions, you state, I'm not discussing my day or my evening. When they continue to ask you questions, you ask them, are you free? Am I being detained, or am I free to leave? If they tell you that you're being detained, you politely invoke the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution, and then you don't have much more to say other than, I want a lawyer. And that's a good way to generally keep yourself, out of trouble. But understand, here in Utah still, the scent of cannabis alone is enough to get a cop, into your vehicle to perform a search. But never consent to a search of your vehicle. You do not have to do that. And also, you do not have to consent to a field sobriety test here in Utah, although you do have to consent to a chemical test. So a lot of that's a big mouthful to say, in short, don't talk to the cops when they ask questions.
Quick question on that, JD. This whole smell thing, right? A cop can say they smell it even if they don't. I mean, they'd be like, oh, I smell weed, even if there's not. And just because they said it makes it a go? I mean, whose word is whose? I mean...
Well, that's why, sadly, you'll probably have to go all the way through an arrest, and you'll hire someone, like me, or you'll hire me or someone from my firm, and we'll battle it out in court. But generally, when cops continue to ask you questions, it's because they're trying to get you to incriminate yourself and help make their case easier. So when they say to you, hey, by the way, it'll go easier for you if you just talk to me. And hey, if you talk to me now and you tell me where the cannabis is and you tell me when the last time you consumed it was, I'll make sure to put in a good word for you. That's simply just not the case. The Constitution and your right to invoke the Fifth Amendment are your best friends. And so, yeah, if you don't have anything to say to the officers, then I or someone like me has a better chance to challenge them when we get to court, right? That's the big thing. If you admit to them, when someone gets pulled over on suspicion of a DUI, right? The favorite answer is, well, how much have you had to drink? Oh, I had 2 beers. Well, you've gone ahead and done the cop's job for him. Just like if you were to say, hey, I consumed cannabis 2 hours ago, right? Or even last night, you're not going to do yourself any favors. So to me, one of the lawyers here in our firm has always said to me that handcuffs are silver, but silence is golden. So that's just something that I live by,
That's good advice.
That is really good advice.
Yep.
Hey, on the legal front, so you were just touching on the metabolite. So if I quit using today, I'm going to probably have a metabolite for probably the next 4 months with the way I've been using.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work?
Yeah, and that, David, that's a great question. And actually, last legislative session, they changed that to where if you only have, I can't even remember the long term, the long elongated term for what it is, but a cannabis metabolite, if that's all you have in your system, that can no longer serve as the basis for a metabolite DUI, which that's really good. However, there are now there's a bill up in front of the legislature to kind of enhance some of the DUI penalties, and that's something you'll want to pay, people want to pay attention to. But in terms of metabolite DUI, if all you have in your system is the non-active cannabis metabolite, you will not, and assuming you're a patient and all of that stuff, you're not going to be subject to a metabolite DUI. So that's great, because cannabis, of all controlled substances, of at least illicit substances, street substances, stays in your system longer than anything else, and it's no longer impairing, after more than a few hours, but it'll be in your system for days, weeks, or months if you're a regular user.
So are they using the
Thanks for
roadside
clearing that up.
sobriety test as kind of the go-to when they're suspecting somebody's driving high or stoned?
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much it crosses over between alcohol and stuff, because they've been able to kind of firmly establish, a per se limit of alcohol in your system that they believe is intoxicating. The field sobriety tests are designed to show intoxication, but I don't know how much they're designed to show intoxication from a controlled substance as opposed to alcohol. But that's why, to me, whether it's alcohol or anything else, you have the right to decline a field sobriety test, because to me, those things are designed for you to fail. I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to do one of them, to do those tests sober. They're difficult. They're difficult, and you could fail just as easy sober as you could intoxicated. So to me, that's something that, just politely decline.
So you can decline a test and they'll be perfectly okay with it, huh?
Well, they might not be perfectly okay, but you have a right. It's optional.
Okay.
However, like I said, you have to submit to a chemical test unless you're willing to automatically lose your license for a period of time. So if you don't care about having a driver license, and that's and beating a DUI is more important to you, you'll have to make that decision on the spot. But by having a driver's license, you impliedly consent to chemical testing, either breath or blood. And when it comes to cannabis, that leads me into another thing. Testing blood for cannabis is not always a good measure in terms of impairment. And some states have tried to pass per se limits, of 5 nanograms, per whatever. And that's what they try to, determine, impairment by. But as anyone can probably tell you, even the same user can consume the same amount of cannabis, and it may have differing effects, you know what I mean? And especially if you consume it in different forms. Anybody that's had an edible, and is not an experienced edible user can tell you that,
JD, do you have, I remember you have a blog, yeah? And some of this legal stuff is on your site.
It is. The website is currently undergoing a kind of a revamp to update some of the content and some different things. doing kind of a redo on some of my logo and some stuff like that. So it'll probably be back up there the first part of April, but people are certainly able to reach out to me. I mean, like I said, I get calls all the time, you know, where I spend 15, 20 minutes just answering a few questions here or there, you know, for people. Obviously, none of it, like I said, is legal advice. None of it creates an attorney-client relationship with me and the patient. But, you know, I'm always happy to share that information. And we've got several criminal defense lawyers here at our firm, as well as family law attorneys, if people need, you know, that kind of assistance. My assistance is more industry focused, although I make sure to stay up to date to consult patients. And then I turn that over to the heavy hitters at our firm that do criminal and family law. That's not my specialty, but, you know, I know where to get you.
Right. That's good. Well, when you get that back up, we'll link out when it gets, you know, all reposted and everything.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
Hey,
So-
it looks like we have Cole here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want him in at all. Like, can he even hear?
Cole-
You can hear us and stuff, right, Cole?
Cole, we can see you. We can see, and the guest. We can see the Utah Utes flag behind you.
I feel like we're crashing the party here, but we
Heck
made
no, I'm glad you're here, and you sound a whole lot better than you did before.
you can see us, you can hear us. We're participating, it looks like. So thank you
Yes.
for having us. Happy
Absolutely.
happy 1 year anniversary, first and foremost.
Thank you.
Party.
Yeah, it's going to be a party. And to you too, right? Salt Lake City is about a year old.
Almost.
And you were on one of our first episodes as well. And at the time you had gotten shut down for or you had decided we're not going to do a print for now. We were going to just do online articles, and you've been just cranking those out, keeping everybody updated. But now you finally got to print your first edition. Tell us about that.
Things have come to fruition. You know, I'm sitting next to Larson Quick, by the way. I call him our strain reviewer. He's our product reviewer for Salt Lake City. He's been handling all the content for that. But yeah, like you said, Tim, it's been a long year. COVID really set us back, but we held in there, and we've got the print on the press as we speak. So we should be distributing at the beginning of next week, I believe. We'll find out more on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't wait to see it because, you know, Chris and I have a big Utah in the Weeds. Everybody's got to go. I mean, the first thing everybody needs to do is open that thing up, read the article about JD.
That's right.
And
to give people a good idea of what to expect with this magazine is it took our team a lot of thinking on how we wanted to introduce ourselves and medical cannabis in Utah. So we're calling this year the Faces of Utah Medical Cannabis from seed to sale.
It's really loud there in the back there, Cole.
I don't know, maybe you might have the furnace going.
Yeah, I can't You can't hear nothing.
Yeah, nothing changed on that side.
Huh, that's crazy.
When we hear it, it sounds like a jet, but not ours.
Now it sounds better.
Yeah. Is that better?
That's amazingly better.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us about the first year again.
Sorry, that was a little bit distracting. I couldn't hear myself think. Let me start over. First issue should be coming out at the beginning of next week. We're exclusively going to be available in all Utah medical cannabis pharmacies, at least those that are open now.
No, it's getting louder again, Cole. It's getting I don't know what's going on. When you start talking, it keeps getting louder and louder as you're talking.
As I talk, the microphone's probably not working, huh?
I don't know what. Oh, shit. This is the joys of doing a live Facebook like this, you guys. This is.
Hey, and lawyer that showed up as a cat to that. You're good.
Anyway, maybe Cole will come back. Oh, there he is.
Cole, you're back.
I'm here.
Oh, and I can hear you. So let's try that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Give it another try, Cole.
Yeah.
I just smacked the thing like the old television and it seemed to work, huh?
Yeah, that's what we need.
All right. Well, if you guys can hear me, all right. Well, first issue again's coming out next week. The Faces of Utah Medical Cannabis. It's featuring a full spectrum roster of those working in the medical cannabis industry here in Utah, from top to bottom, if you want to put it that way. State officials, advocates, patients like David, bud tenders, QMPs, so on and so forth. Really a great introduction for medical cannabis here in Utah. Have some directory pages as well, so patients can find their way to the pharmacy, find a QMP if they don't have a card. So we're hoping this magazine will get passed around amongst the green scene. Again, they're going to be available at all Utah medical cannabis pharmacies. So you should see those. I'm hoping Monday. Cross your fingers. Next week, though, I can promise.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool, just in the stuff that we've talked about and the kind of preliminary, I'm just excited about that. Something that's substantial. I don't know. I thought the layout looked great. I mean, I'm really just excited about the whole thing.
We're excited to dish this out on Utah. There was a lot of work involved. It wasn't just me. We have Larson here doing a lot of writing for us. We have Abraham. He's been doing the layout, which you've been looking at. Nobody else has really seen this except for our sponsors, Utah in the Weeds. We're actually...
Oh, dang it. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Oh, no, I thought I lost something there. But yeah, we're a Looking Glass smoke shop on State Street right now. It's where we had to come hijack the internet just so we could come bombard the party here. They're one of our sponsors as well, and just down the street from Dragonfly. So if you need consumption tools, anything to consume legally here in Utah, they've got you covered. They'll be featured in the magazine as well. Some cool toys that they have. I'll have Larson kind of talk about the strain stuff, though, and what he does for the magazine. I can get long-winded on this stuff.
Everyone. Yeah, my name's Larson. Cole and I have been working together for about a year. I've been doing a lot of the product review stuff, which is the best job to have, right? Well,
Yeah, how do I get that job?
Yeah.
best. Get to try everything and then write some awesome, descriptions and. But it's been great. I'm a medical cannabis patient myself, obviously, and just really appreciate it for a lot of different reasons. But I feel like something that I really appreciate about what we've been doing is trying to help people who are not experienced have kind of an easy way to dip their toes into the water, to read about it, right? To maybe look at it in a different way than they have before. And that's kind of always my goal with the things that I'm writing with the product reviews, and trying to just break things down simply and give people an easy way in, I guess, and help them not be as worried maybe when they're, looking at these different types of flower that you can buy at the pharmacies.
Yeah, I think product reviews are something that we don't have, and maybe this is a good question for you, Cole, as far as how much difficulty you had actually putting this stuff on paper, because I know the legalities around using a dispensary or a pharmacy logo, or, writing an article promoting such and such, maybe promoting or not a pharmacy or a grower or a producer, right? These things are against the statute. So do you have somebody like JD who helps you navigate all of that?
Yeah, let's just put it this way. It was not easy getting Utah's first cannabis news and culture magazine to print without, falling off that tightrope line of being legal and not. JD Lauritzen has really stepped in and helped up. I can call him any time of the day and he can answer questions for me. And unfortunately for him, he does. He's actually having conversations about the type of advertising, the type of content we can run. And we really had to go through this with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that we did it right. Without getting long-winded, a cannabis magazine, the only way it's going to work in Utah is if we do it right. And we have to do it the Utah way, if that makes sense. A Northwest Leaf, Culture magazine, more recreational focused magazines aren't going to have success that we would have here in Utah focused. But we get to have a lot of fun with it too. And that's where JD comes in to make sure that we're not having too much fun. But we work hard and we play hard. And that's why, you know, Larson and I got together. We have a small crew here that is our patients. We're all medical cannabis patients. We're weed nerds. And so we're creating this magazine for other patients. Nobody else is going to do it for them. The local media outlets, they cover cannabis, but just a little bit. And that's why we came around. So people are informed. They know how to find the products. They know what they're in for when they walk into the pharmacy. They're a newbie or they're a well-seasoned consumer like our friend David down here. At least my bottom left here.
That's right.
But,
That's right. It's cool. I'm looking forward to more of those issues coming out. How often do you plan on putting one out, or is that something that's in flux?
Great question. You know, when we originally talked, we wanted to put out a magazine, but pre-COVID, you know, remind you, that was going to be a monthly magazine. We've dialed back some. The world still isn't turned back on, so we're going to start doing this as a quarterly. We're a little bit behind on our first issue. Technically, it should have came out in January. You know, on my team's end, we had to coordinate with the state to make sure advertising, you know, was legal, that our content was legal. There were far more hurdles than I think any other publication would have to face getting their first issue out. So it took some time. Our next issue will be coming out 4/20. That's our year anniversary. We claim 4/20/2020. And that'll be the next issue. It'll be Utah's first 420 guide. So without getting into the TOC, the table of contents, you have an idea what you're probably in for, but expect it to come out quarterly after that, July and then into the winter.
Hey, Cole, can you get a little closer to the microphone? You're trailing off there again. You're trailing off there.
Bit better?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Trailing off there. I want to make sure everybody can hear all the knowledge.
Yeah, that's great.
But and that's really what it's all about, Chris, is knowledge. You know, my team, we've consumed for, you know, a number of years and dabbled, and we've gotten to meet people like JD and Tim and Jeremy Summericks and David. And that's the luxury as us journalists. We get to meet everybody, which gives us the full spectrum view of what's going on. And that's what we want our audience to see too. So through this issue, you're going to see all the faces that make the products, that sell the products, that make the laws for the products. And after you read this issue, you should know, you know, how this program works inside and out. What kind of job, whether you want to be a patient or whether you just want to be a fly on the wall. You know, we have no problem with that.
Yeah. I think that's it goes hand in hand with what we do with Utah in the Weeds, Chris and I, really, because it's the same type of thing, right? If you're interested in it and you want something to read, you know, Salt Lake City really is right there. If you want something to listen to on the way to work, you know, we talk to JD and he listens to our episodes every Friday, kind of in the, you know, you kind of get into this habit and you get to know people in the industry, some pharmacists, you get to know some patients, different patient stories, how things are going in the industry, what the advocates are saying. We try to get, you know, we've tried to get a few people on that haven't been, you know, super excited to come on for whatever reason, but we really try to get people access to the stories and what's happening in Utah, and that could be a really good transition into Jeremy Summericks from Deseret Wellness, right? Like, well, considering announcements, welcome, Jeremy. It's good to see you.
Hi, guys.
Good to see you.
I appreciate it. Good to see you all.
So I'm excited to have you on because you got the newest announcement to make in Utah.
We are the newest, shiniest thing in the moment, right? It'll probably change by Monday, but yeah.
I doubt it. Things don't move that fast in this industry in Utah.
Man, I got the gray hairs that'll disagree. So yesterday we opened in Park City. So the first in all of the Wasatch Back. be able to take care of the patients on that side of the range. We're thrilled to finally get there.
So Deseret Wellness now has a location both in Provo, right off of Center Street, off the freeway in Provo, and Kimball Junction, right up in.
No, we're actually a little further up. So almost at the intersection of Kearns and Park Avenue.
Okay.
If anybody's familiar with Kearns, there's a small cemetery on one side of the street. We're in the Emporium, which is literally across the street from that, just below Wasatch Lighting.
Right below Wasatch Light. So you go up to the light and you turn left. Instead of going downtown Park City, you turn left. Correct. There, like you were going to go, you go past a bunch of stuff up there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If you're headed into downtown, at the light at Kearns, hang a left. You'll go past a DoubleTree. You'll go past another strip center, and we're right there on the right.
Do you have a sign out front yet?
So Park City is a little challenging that way. We do have a sign up above our entrance, but they're really strict on, they actually measure square footage. So we were limited in what we were able to do, but there is a Deseret Wellness sign above our front door.
What do you mean you were limited? Like as far as your actual space of your whole pharmacy, or just of your sign?
No, the signage.
Okay.
So there are a lot of, I guess, historical rules. So for example, this Emporium Strip Center was given X amount of footage for signage, okay, and that's essentially set in stone. So you can't add to it, you can't detract from it. It is what it is, and you make it work.
Must be hard as a business to work with stuff like that sometimes.
Little challenging. We also wanted to do a green cross of some kind, and we weren't able to get permission to do that. So we're gonna have to be a little bit more creative up there.
It's an interesting place because Summit County doesn't have a lot of cards, right? There's only 200 some odd patients that are registered in Summit County by the Department of Health records. Mm-hmm. And, you know, but then again, they're essentially telling you, no, you want this license, you have to open. And 200 patients wouldn't be enough from a business standpoint to really say, hey, let's spend all this money and all this security. And, you know, I've walked through there with you, and there's a ton of security and a ton of technology that goes into building something like that. You guys did a fantastic job, frankly. It looks really good. And it looks a lot like what you have in Provo, which I really like. Of course, as you know, as we're trying to get the landlord to let us in there. But that kind of investment, I think, is challenging, but you guys really pulled it off in a big way. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll tell you the thing that we're the most excited about is you're right in that the data shows that there are not very many registered patients between Wasatch and Summit counties. That being said, when the voters of Utah voted on the program, Summit County was the highest percentage of yes in the entire state. More than any other county, Summit County said, we want this program. What that tells me is it's a combination of availability and patience, so to speak, right? So what we're banking on is that all those patients in the Wasatch Back were hesitant to drive down to Provo. They were hesitant to drive down to Salt Lake. But now that we're there, I believe and we hope that we'll see those patients, you know, come visit us now that we're available to them. Because for them to vote that resoundingly that they want the program tells me that there's a need for it. So we think it was, you know, is it the chicken before the egg? But we think that it was a matter of availability for them. And I expect we'll see a significant ramp up in registering patients in those counties.
That's a really good point. I did not know that that statistic.
Yeah. So they needed it. They want it. And quite frankly, there are some regulations that were a little difficult in Park City, like any business owner would have to deal with, but they've been great partners in the city. All of the partners that we've interacted with, whether it's city employees, our neighbors, et cetera, everybody's been incredibly gracious and supportive. They've been very, very welcoming. And I got to tell you, the patients that came in yesterday for our first day were so incredibly appreciative and excited for us to be open. So I don't get the sense that people don't want us there. I think that people really do want us to be there. And so Now we just need to make sure that everybody's aware that we are.
So do you have product up there right now for like people that are watching this live on Facebook even, they can go there now and get product?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We started selling medicine as of 11 o'clock yesterday morning.
Okay.
We're open every day but Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to close Tuesday, Wednesday for the time being, but we're open all weekend. And yeah, we're ready to roll, Chris. We're happy to take care of anybody that wants to come by with their card.
Awesome.
Do you offer a discount for veterans?
Yeah, we actually offer veteran discount. We have a senior discount. We have a discount for those on government assistance. And then the big one right now is we offer a 20% off first-time patient discount. And I mean, let's be honest, just about everybody's new to Park City. So come on by. We'll take care of you.
That might be worth the drive out to Park City
Yeah.
to take advantage
There
of
you
that discount.
Yeah, there you go. We've got a good assortment. I was thrilled. You know, everybody's aware of some of the product issues in the state, but we were able to open with a really solid assortment from flour to concentrates, everything in between.
Very cool.
Yeah, really,
Can people
really cool.
be on the website, this what you have available there in Park City?
Yeah, if you go to Deseret-wellness.com and you go to the order tab at the top of the page, you can toggle between Park City and Provo, and those menus are live, so you can see what we have in the moment.
From a retail standpoint or a pharmacy standpoint, has the system, the MJ Freeway system, the EVS system, has it gotten better? Has like that tracking system gotten better, or are you still waiting on upgrades?
Yeah, it's not better.
Okay.
I was going to try to be really political. And listen, we have our own frustrations with it. But at the end of the day, most of you guys know me, and what we're obsessed with is that patient experience, right? We don't want people to have to wait. They've waited for how many years to get the medicine here? We don't want them to wait anymore. And unfortunately, the component that frustrates me the most is patients are there. We're trying to get them registered. We're trying to get their medicine to them. And unfortunately, MJ Freeway has these moments where it just has a brain fart and we're not able to take care of anybody. So that's the most frustrating component.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, we work with it. We use it because we have to, and we'll do the best we can.
You know, and I didn't know this until recently, but MJ Freeway is the ones who hired, they're the ones who manage and developed the EVS system on the patient side. That's all one vendor, so to speak. And so we're like you on the patient side, the EVS. I mean, we just want the patients to have a really seamless experience. And it is challenging. Right now, the state is about 10 plus days to issue a card. So, you know, where it was the letters and you could go right down and have this seamless experience, now patients are waiting and the renewal process. You know, we asked David earlier, and I think with him, you know, he's literally been involved in the system since the beginning from the EVS system. So I'd consider him a patient expert. But the renewals seem to be a big struggle for people. And do people come into Deseret, and they're expired and they just didn't know?
It happens. It happens not very often, which is good. I think most patients are aware when their expiration is approaching. But yeah, it does happen. And unfortunately, to your point, there really isn't anything that we can do except refer them back to their QMP. And that between setting their appointment up with you or their other QMP and then waiting for the approval to come through, I mean, it's not immediate, and that's unfortunate.
Right. Yeah, there are some new, I spoke to the Department of Health on Tuesday, and there are some upgrades to that system coming for QMPs and patients, but it is a couple of months coming. And it's an incremental improvement. There was already an incremental improvement, but there'll be more.
Yeah, we're excited about some of the pending legislation changes, but it'll take time for them to be implemented and vetted and then of course optimized. So
Sure.
It'll take some time.
Cool.
Cool. Well, I'm excited for you, Jeremy. Best of luck up there in Park City with everything.
Thank you very, very much. We're happy to take care of you guys. Come on by.
I can't wait to check it out.
Well, I can't wait to go up there as a patient. Check it out.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to run and make sure they're all set up to go, but thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
You bet.
See you soon.
See you, Jeremy.
Right.
Bye, everybody.
And it's about noon here, Tim. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about with anybody while we got Cole or JD or David here.
I got a question for Cole.
Yeah.
Hey Cole, are you gonna do like kind of not just medicine reviews, but like product reviews, like dab rigs? You know, like we were talking stash bags earlier. Here's a nice smell-proof stash logic.
Love
Stuff like that would be very helpful.
No, that's a good question. In the issue that's coming out, we have a consumption tool page. It's actually a spread from Looking Glass, review on the Volcano Magic Butter Machine you can use to consume here in Utah. I'm going to switch over to Larson though, mostly because he's going to be doing some of the new vape products, the stuff you're talking about. I'll let him emphasize more.
Yeah, that's something that we really this year want to get going a lot more is reaching out and trying a lot more products. This first year, we were just so excited to get our hands on medicine in Utah that it was hard to even want to do anything else. You know, like when you can go down and buy flour legally, it was hard to want to try all these other things that are out there. So anyhow, but now we're going to start branching out, looking at some different herbal vaporizers, some different glass that's available. Yeah, we're actually doing an experiment with the Magic Butter Machine today, which is something that's cool. Makes edibles for you very easily, right?
The Instant Pot for stoners, we'll put it that way.
Yeah. Right.
Get you a Levo.
Yeah, then there's the Levo. Chris, don't you have a Levo, Chris?
We got the Levo. Yeah, if you want a review of the Levo, hit me up, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Weed.
Yep. Yeah, and I do some, you know, we just have all sorts of different ideas. So we're excited for this year to kind of branch out and look at things that we didn't really get a chance to look at last year. And hopefully, you know, and if anyone ever has ideas or there's a product that you want us to review, you know, reach out on our Instagram or any other way that you can through our website and whatnot. And we'll take those suggestions. You know, it might be easier for us to get our hands on something than you know, just someone else if we reach out to those different companies. So yeah, if you got ideas, let us know. We're always open to it. Well, there's even a local guy that we're looking to do a review. I won't really say what his product is yet, but there's a guy in Utah who's making a consumption product that we're hoping to do a review from, especially local. You know, really cool that there's people in the state innovating and doing this stuff. So look out for those things. It's going to be a fun year. Yeah.
I think this is going to be a year of that type of that next step thing, because, you know, like we have this, so we've got the podcast, Salt Lake City. We've got more information coming from, you know, people in the legal side like JD, you know, who will probably be posting more articles and things like that for patients. We've got Discover Marijuana, the project that I do, where that's more medical review, you know, conditions and how to dose. You'll have these things that Larson's going to be doing. I think this year is going to be sweet for Utahns for information, right? You're going to have it. I really see a constant flow of information coming out for patients, where last year it seemed like we were all riding a bike downhill trying to build the thing. and so I'm excited for this year.
Yeah, and we're excited. We're excited to go into a little more into the CBD realm too. We didn't get too deep into that last year. We actually have some CBD flower that I've been, you know, playing around with and reviewing and very excited about. Hadn't really dipped into that world too much yet. So yeah, there's a lot of things we're looking at, a lot of different products that are going to be fun. And not only that too. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm on the hunt for some good CBD tinctures, so if you do some reviews on that,
tinctures,
yeah, check out UtahHempGrowers.com. They sell CBD products that are made here in Utah, so you can get your Soon Family Farm flour, and this is craft flour. It looks just like your regular flour that you're getting out of the pharmacy, but it's below the threshold of THC.
Yeah, we got them coming on the podcast here soon.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Great product.
Yeah, well, cool.
Cool. I'm excited for you all. I'm excited for this year. I think this year, like you were saying, Tim, is going to be a year. I mean, things are starting to kind of calm down everywhere. So this is, I'm excited. I am really,
Yeah.
really excited. And then even the podcast. I mean, there's going to be a lot going on with the podcast. So hopefully everybody stays subscribed and stays tuned as we're finally,
Yeah.
this is our year, Tim.
That's right. We're up to 50 episodes. We'll get another 50 more.
Yeah.
Next year we'll be at the 100
and,
mark.
and again, I'll harp on it one more time. For 1 year, you guys have really made some traction, and you educated a lot of Utah medical cannabis patients. And between your services too, Tim, I can only imagine how many patients you've signed up to participate. So
Yeah, we have done. Thank you, and I'm excited. We have been able to help a lot of patients. We have 70% plus of our patients who are using less medications than they were before starting cannabis. We do a lot of research on that, and it's important to us to keep the information legitimate and free flowing.
Yep.
So, well, this has been exciting, Chris.
Yeah.
Utah in the Weeds 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. Were we going to give away any hoodies or anything?
yes.
Were we going to figure out a way to
Yes,
give away
we've
a
got
hoodie?
some commenters, and Zach, tell me who's getting a free hoodie. Now, this hoodie, this Utah in the Weeds, we got to give away a couple of them.
Okay. Now, does JD and Cole have one? I think they should.
If you guys I'm definitely sending you guys these.
Okay.
These are
You guys
great.
better have a real big one for me. You might want to throw a
Yeah, I
couple
got
down.
one. Utah in the Weeds hoodie right here. Super soft. This is coming at you.
So we've got, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We've got Cynthia Reinhart on YouTube that commented.
Cynthia Reinhart coming at you. A hoodie coming at you. And we'll
what
reach out
you
and comment. We'll reach out and we'll need to get your size and coordinate how to get it to you.
How about they email you, Tim? How about they send you an email maybe, or send
Yeah,
somebody
absolutely.
an email maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's the
You can
best
email
email?
me at tim@utthc.com, or you could call us at utahmarijuana.org, Utah Therapeutics. That number is 801-851-5554. But emailing me is a great way to reach out as well. Who else, Zach? We got to do one more.
Let's give one to Chrissy Hollifield.
Oh,
you know-
Chrissy. Chrissy's got one.
That's
She's
my
got
wife.
one.
That's my wife. She's already got one.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
By the
Okay.
way, hey, shout out to Chrissy because this is Chrissy's design. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Chrissy's design. She's got it already in her head.
That's awesome.
I'm
All right,
really
we'll go
glad
with
that that's
April
the person we chose.
Miera.
April? What's her last
April.
name?
Miera?
Miera, I think is
Miera?
how you say it.
April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Okay, that's exciting.
Well, awesome.
Awesome.
So get a hold of Tim, send him an email, call up their office on the phone number. Go to utahmarijuana.org. That's got the phone number up there as well if you didn't get a chance to write it down.
Yep, and that's where all the podcasts are. utahmarijuana.org/podcast, or here on Facebook or YouTube. We've got we're loading all the podcast episodes on Discover Marijuana on YouTube. They'll be there as well. Yeah, this has been fun. Thanks, guys. JD, David, Cole.
Yeah, and I just want to say really quickly, we could not have done this without our listeners. Honestly, without you, there is no us, right? And I've really enjoyed doing this podcast over the last year and getting to know Tim better and getting to know everybody else in the industry here locally. It's really been the highlight of my year. So thank you for letting me be part of it.
Yeah, thanks.
But,
All right, everybody.
all right, yeah, we'll end it there. Thank you. And
Thank
like
you.
Tim says,
Stay safe out there.
all right.